Salvador Dali was a Spanish surrealist painter. He was known for his lead in the surrealist art movement. He was also pretty well known as a writer and had published over 100 diaries and novels. Some of these being The Conquest of the Eternal, all the way back in 1935, and The Secret Life of Salvador Dali, published in 1942. He was someone that affected the surrealist art movement quite a bit. He also worked in a few different styles. These included Cubism, he was a novelist and a poet, and many more. Dali was born in Spain to Flapa de las Fuleres and Salvador Dali I on May 11th in 1904. His parents said that he was the reincarnation of his late older brother, who was also named Salvador Dali. Just the fact that his parents named him after his late brother and thought that he was the reincarnation of him was a bit weird. It's no wonder this man grew up to be a little bit nutty. But this was just the start of one amazingly crazy life. As a child, he was prone to outbursts and violent hysterical tantrums towards the people around him. One could say that these actions were the inspiration to the start of his art career. He showed interest in art when he was only a child, having his first drawing lesson at the early age of 10. His father then enrolled him in the Madden Art School of Fine Arts, where he experimented with many different kinds of art. At the age of 16, his mother passed away from breast cancer, which, he stated, was one of the hardest blows of his life. In 1922, he was enrolled in a special painting, sculpture, and engraving school in San Fernando, located in Madrid, Spain. In his time there, he became very popular, and he started to get noticed by the art world. His friend group consisted of many leading artists and talented people, including, but not limited to, the famous filmmaker Luis Buñuel, and the poet Federico Garcia Lorca. But all good things have to come to an end eventually, and for Salvador Dali, it would be because he insulted one of his professors. In 1926, he was expelled from the academy. And this all marks the start of his exotic life as an artist. To tell you the truth, this man could never stay in one spot. After he was expelled, he was always on the move, going to other countries for exhibitions and other important events. His first exhibition was in Paris, France, in 1929, where he showcased his most famous piece, The Persistence of Memory. This was followed by a trip to New York, where he exhibited a few other of his surrealist paintings in the year of 1930 to 1931. He then went back to Paris in 1932, and then back to New York in 1933. And then he traveled to Paris, London, and Hartford, USA, all in 1934. He went back to Spain in 1935, and in 1936 he went to New York, London, and Paris, and so many more. No joke, it really gives me a headache. His travel history was so long. Most of his traveling was for exhibitions, but there was the odd time he would travel just for the hell of it. He did, however, stay in the US during the duration of the Second World War. In this time, he took up hobbies like making jewelry and photography. He also helped set up the designs and props for a lot of different operas and ballets, leading all the way to him working with Walt Disney in a short film. One could say this man was a man of many talents, many of odd kinds as well, like the fact that he used to make sculptures out of tune-up bread. Yeah, I know, right? Mushy bread sculptures. Sounds great. But, even as an artist, he had his own way of doing things. He was just overall really creative and kind of crazy. This led to him becoming one of the most well-known surrealist artists of his time. And I can definitely say, after trying the surrealist method of art for this project, that I am quite surprised at how fun and how much freedom you have in this style. Although, I might not do it again. It was kind of really difficult for me. But I do applaud anybody that can.